What's up? What's up? As you know, we always start this thing off with a one shout out from one take saying, "What's going on, world?" I'm back with my man live from the den in sunny Oakland, California. None other than my close buddy, my guy, Brandon Critter. What's up, boy?
How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. This will be what, show number two?
Right.
Show number two for us two guys, man. We were missing one guy because we're in the works of putting together a show. I think you call it the Killer Bees. I call it like the Attack of the Bees. But either way it go, it's a show brought to you by three of the world's famous guys who first names start with the B. That's be Brandon, Brendan, and Brian. And then our executive producer from the sky looking down, another Brian. So that's actually like four B's involved in this whole entendre of getting together. How was your weekend, man?
Man, it was a good one. Got, obviously it's Super Bowl weekend. I'm sure we're going to talk about that quite a bit. But, no, good weekend. Spent some time up in the area. Didn't get in the middle of the Super Bowl stuff too much, but did see some of it. Other than that, just a very basic weekend. Just kind of hung out, watched the game on Sunday. Got done watching Raw last night, and I'm ready to talk.
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed a little Raw last night. I don't know why, dude. I came in from work. Everybody know I'm Eastern Standard Time. I came in. I got off at 8 o'clock, so I left at 7:42 because we were allowed to. I got home at 8:18. I caught maybe the first 15 minutes after that of Raw, and I was out. Like, I didn't even see the Daniel Bryan speech.
Wow.
So I'm going to use your insight when we get to that to just fill me in. But let's talk about the unofficial holiday in America, where America stood still Sunday for probably the greatest single-handed sporting event in all of the world, all of sports. Because even with the allure and the way you get captivated with the World Cup, it fizzled down closer towards the finals. But Super Bowl Sunday is the end all be all of one day sporting events. I think they should go ahead and make it a national holiday. You have more call offs that day than any day of the year, including New Year's and New Year's Eve. Everyone stops what they're
Yeah.
doing to see that particular game.
Yeah, there's no doubt it should definitely be a national holiday because I mean, why people even think someone wants to go into work that day? But whatever, that's the way it is. But yeah, great. The big day has come and gone, and it's time to talk about that game.
So, if those of you who slept under a rock, or maybe you just was imprisoned in like solitary for the past 2 weeks, the game took place in San Francisco at the new Levi's Stadium, and it was representing the NFC, the defending NFC South champions, none other than the Carolina Panthers, and coming out of the AFC and also the defending AFC West champions was the Denver Broncos. Going into this game, you had two teams that were night and day in comparison. You had a young upstart team that was very charismatic, very outgoing in what they thought the outcome of the game would have been. On the opposite side, you had the legendary, the God gift to our eyes of football. You had Peyton Manning and a more mild mannered team because of the defeat they had 2 years ago at the hands of Seattle. You had more of a team that was more focused in their preparation and even in some of their meetings outside of a couple of their characters who just that's who they naturally are. So you had two total different teams going into this Super Bowl. What was your take before kickoff? We know what the outcome was, but give me your take before kickoff.
Yeah, before kickoff, I kind of agree with what you just said. The Panthers came in; they were a very brash group of players, very involved. Everyone talking about their little dances and stuff like that. Obviously, Cam Newton the night before named the most valuable player in the NFL, which he definitely was. Totally different kind of player than any of the other 29 or whatever it is. 32 teams, so 31 other quarterbacks in the league, completely different kind of guy. He was described as being like a runner who could play quarterback instead of a quarterback. He's not a mobile quarterback. He's a runner who can throw the ball. He's basically like he's a running back with an arm. And he's a completely different player. You had obviously the rise of Josh Norman as one of the best corners in the league. And Luke Kuechly, of course, great player in the middle linebacker. So you have a really strong that kind of team, led by one of my area's locals, Ron Rivera from Seaside, which is very close to where I live. And then you get on the other side, you obviously have the sheriff. You have Peyton Manning, who's been around forever. He's the man who holds the record for most touchdowns, most yards, things like that.
Most interceptions, most completions, most passing attempts, most playoff wins.
Babe Ruth holds the record for most strikeouts. You're not going to hit, a lot of homers if you don't strike out a little bit.
Totally agree.
Manning, he's one of those guys that he's at the like instant Hall of Famer as soon as he becomes available. And you got a good young team around him. Great receivers, maybe not as good as they were 2 years ago because you don't have Julius Thomas at tight end. Owen Daniels comes in to fill that spot along with his former coach in Houston, Gary Kubiak. But an unbelievably strong defense.
Question for you real quick, B. As we speak of the departure of Julius Thomas, and we have Owen Daniels there starting at tight end. Let's pause real quick. By you being from the Bay Area, you got to witness this guy's career, pretty much his whole entire career. I'm not sure if you're a fantasy football guy. Are you?
Yes, I am.
So do you remember trade deadline November when the Broncos traded for Vernon Davis, how the fantasy world panicked and made moves? Either you added him or you made a trade where you actually traded a player of the likes of, let's say, David Funchess, Ted Ginn Jr., Golden Tate I seen get traded for Vernon Davis at the time. How is Vernon Davis not in the starting lineup?
Because unfortunately, Vernon Davis probably didn't have enough time to get into the Broncos system to find his way into the starting lineup. He really, the couple of games that he was with them that I saw him play, he only had maybe one catch, if any. Really didn't seem to be involved that much in the playoffs from what I remember, although I guess he had a pretty good game at one point.
He had a bunch of drops during the regular season, too. Like, in that offense, for him just to run out routes and curl, like, he dropped a lot of passes. But I had to bring that up because I remember watching that game, and I just remember saying to myself, because I'm a huge fantasy guy, big up to the guys for going for two. I just was like, I never would have thought I seen the day that the likes of Vernon Davis will still be sitting on the sideline with Peyton Manning, who has made tight end after tight end after tight end. How does he not utilize Vernon Davis?
And I think any other coach they might have, but Kubiak knows Daniels. They were together in Houston for many years. And he had something to do with it. And let's be honest, Daniels made the first catch early in the game. It looked like he might be on his way to a good game. But that's, Vernon Davis, unfortunately, I don't think was ready to be a member of the Broncos, definitely not in a game like that. Next year, maybe he will be, if he stays with them. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. My take going into that game, excuse me, outside of things we've already mentioned, I'm what you call a big barbershop guy. I'm a trash talker. But I hate getting into arguments because do I consider myself part of the media? No, I consider myself part of the underground media. Like, I personally think guys like me, you, Woods, Meeks, Restus, a couple other guys that I can't name everybody, but these are the guys we personally know. I feel like we speak from a contractual situation where we're not right. hindered by our contract, such as Stephen A. and others that have to say the right thing. Yeah. So I find myself. Go ahead.
As I like to say on my show, from a fan's perspective, not from a media perspective.
Yeah, and you do say that a lot. I think I'm smarter than the average fan. That's just at fault. I'm a cocky guy like that. But I remember getting into arguments at the barbershop. And like I say, sometimes when growing up in an urban setting, some of these guys bet with their pockets because they have extra loan cash. And second of all, I don't think they watch any bit of football. My take on going into this game, the first conversation I got into at the barbershop was, of course, who you think gonna win, Dav? Because that's what everybody called me. I say, well, and I look, I'm like, Denver all day. Man, I'll take a bet on that. What you got? You got 500. You got, just all these numbers. I'm like, well, I don't have no extra money, but I'll put $1 on them. For those of you who are not from the streets, $1 is 100. So I'll put $1 on Denver. It's gonna be easy. Man, you crazy. Cam Newton is the bleep, 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 bleep. All these, expletives. Cam Newton, man, you can't stop him. What you gonna do with him? I mean, Peyton Manning is terrible right now. He can't complete a pass. He can't do this. He's old. He's done. He can't do nothing with Cam Newton, man. Tell me who's gonna stop Cam Newton. And I just looked at him. I say, bro, you sure you want to do that $500 bet? Because I'm willing to take it right now. Because by you opening your mouth, telling me that you have not watched a minute of football this year. So let me break this down to you.
Right.
The reason I'm going with Denver. So if you want to change your bet now, I think you should stop listening. No, man, Cam Newton gonna walk all over that. I'll say, let me explain this to you. First of all, flashy teams don't never last when it comes to big games. The Golden State Warriors are an anomaly. What happened with those guys last year is a once in a while thing. You go all the way back to the Dirty Birds. You go to all these fun teams that America falls in love with, the dances and all that. They blow it championship week because they're already cocky. Second of all, I say this is not basketball. You don't have a LeBron James on the field. You don't have a Stephen Curry on the field. At Cam Newton playing quarterback, he needs too many variables to go in his favor in order for him to flourish. I say Cam Newton, unfortunately, has no weapons on offense. Defensively, these teams match up. These teams match up solid defensively. They both have fast corners. They both have outstanding linebackers, and their front four is good. But when it comes down to needing to get the ball to playmakers, I don't care if Peyton Manning is sick. I don't care if he still is not comfortable in the Gary Kubiak offense because apparently it's something wrong, not just with his arm, because my man Bebe, Demaryius Thomas, has not looked the same in that offense. But fast forward, he has still weapons. He still has Owen Daniels he can go underneath. If Josh Norman takes away Demaryius Thomas, who is going to check Sanders? Who's going to check?
You still got Sanders. You still got Daniels. You still got C.J. Anderson, and you still got Hillman, and that's a lot of stuff to deal with.
And Norwood, and then you got the brain and the mindset of Peyton Manning. I say nothing against Cam, bro. Cam by far was the best player in all of the National Football League this year. If you feel any different, I don't know what to say to you. Cam did his thing all year. So I say so. Now explain to me who Cam gonna go to. Oh man, Ted Ginn Jr., top 5 wide receiver. I say, man, what football have you watched once again? Ted Ginn, a top 5 receiver. I say, bro, he drops 4 out of 3 passes, bro. 3 out of 4 passes he drops. Sorry about that. He he might drop 4 in a row, but on that 5th one, I say, so you like the odds of 1 of 5? I say, look here, let me explain this to you. Ted Ginn Jr., Jericho Cotchery are practice squad wide receivers on any other team in the NFL. Unfortunately, number 13 towards ACL early in training camp, and he's not there.
Right, and that leads to way too much coverage on the one guy he does have out there, which is his tight end, Greg Olsen, who was a member of my fantasy team this year, and an amazing player and a guy that more people don't need to pay a little more attention to. But the reality is when there's not anybody on the outside to get the coverage away from him, as we found out in this game, Greg Olsen is not the guy that he needs that can save Cam Newton when he can't get going to run, when he can't get going to get himself together. He needs somebody down the field, and there was no stretching the field for the Panthers game.
Well, and not just that, you gotta think about the fact. I love Greg Olsen. I thought the Bears were kind of crazy for letting him walk, but if they just took away Gronk, they completely took away Gronk. Like, Gronk is not even a human being. Gronk is a caveman. all Gronk know is touchdown. It seemed like he just wake up and say